probably one of the most familiar faces in Cobourg. He has been town crier for the past 22 years, played Santa Claus for 57 years, and recently retired after 33 years as the drum major for the Cobourg Concert Band. Tom MacMillan. Tom, welcome to Municipal Matters. How are you doing?
Thank you. Very well.
It is a pleasure to see you and see you fully decked out in your town crier uniform. Tell us about Tom MacMillan. You know, everybody knows you. Like I say, you're probably one of the most familiar faces throughout Cobourg, but not many people know the man, Tom. Where are you from?
Toronto. Born in east end of Toronto. Went to school at Danforth Technical School. Specialized in printing. Went in the printing business, and then found out I was allergic to printer's ink. From there,
how long did that take?
It took a little while, but it wasn't too bad.
Right.
But a friend of mine who was in the orchestra at the high school, he and I both played flute, and he came into the plant that I worked in, and I was in the basement working in the printing business, and he said, "What are you doing living in or working in a place like this?" He said, "Get outside in the fresh air." He said, "Come on and work with me in the Bell." Well, I took his advice, worked for the Bell, and I was there about 13 years.
What did you do for Bell?
I was an installer.
Right.
And I installed some of the, well, I was an installer, but I installed switchboards at the first tower of the Toronto Dominion Centre.
Wow.
That's why I quit.
I can imagine that's pretty high up.
I leave on a Friday morning, and I tell my wife, Bert, that I might see her on Monday or Tuesday. And we did work 24 hours a day on the weekends. And because the stockbrokers and et cetera that were going in, they would notify the Bell that they wanted their phones on Monday morning. And the Bell at that time said, "Yes, you'll have it." Right. And they just brought in crowds of people.
It was a different culture back then too, especially in downtown Toronto. There was so much going on, so much development, the buildings all going up.
That's right.
An exciting time to be downtown.
Yeah, so then I just decided that I'd want to change jobs. I wanted to get out of Toronto and see if I couldn't do something different. And I happened to be working in the police station in Toronto at the time that I made this decision. And
working in the police station?
Yes, working in the police station.
Just make that clear.
That's right. I talked to the fellows there, and it sounded pretty good. But then I decided that I didn't want to work in Toronto, and I applied to the OPP and got on. And my first detachment was here in Cobourg.
Right.
And I spent 25 years working for the OPP here in Cobourg, and then I retired. So a little bit of
if you can call that a retirement, because I mean, you've been a pretty busy man. There's absolutely no doubt about that. How'd you get involved with the concert band at Cobourg?
Well, my daughter plays the bassoon, and she was going to every Tuesday night. She'd go to band practice, and I would take her. She couldn't drive. She was only 11 years old, and when they found out that I played the flute in the high school band, they asked me if I would want to play the flute in the band because I was there every Tuesday night. And Rolly White at the time was the director, and he said to me, "Take this flute and this music home, and then gin up on it a bit, and then we'll put you into and you can play with it." Well, I took it home and I looked at the music, and I don't really know, flute music is about 5 lines above the staff when you're reading music.
Right.
And I looked at it, I said, "Whoa, I can't handle this." And I went back, took it back, and then very shortly afterwards, a fellow by the name of Bob Irvin had to leave as drum major. He was taking a course for the job that he was working on, and when he left, Rolly asked me if I would be interested in doing the drum major's job, which I just thought it would be great. So that's how I got started in the band.
So what exactly is the role of a drum major? I know everybody sees you, you're out front, but what exactly are you doing?
Well, what I do is I lead the band. I give the instructions whether to turn left, right, stop, move, left incline, right incline, stuff like this, and just lead the band when they're moving. That's the big thing.
So 33 years doing that, I mean, there has to be some pretty spectacular memories for you. What are some that really stand out of being with the concert band?
Well, one of them was in, I'm not sure whether this was Niagara Falls or St. Catharines. When I first started, the band, we did a routine where the band came up the arena floor and halted. The two outside ranks went out and formed the top part of an hourglass, and the next two ranks went backwards and made the bottom of it. And I'm standing in the front of the center rank with nothing to do, and I thought, God, maybe I should do something. So I spun the mace, both hands, and then did the propeller business, and I threw it up and come down. Whoa, they thought that was wonderful. This was just in practice.
Right.
In the afternoon performance, we did exactly the same thing. The mace went up, but after the mace came down, an awful pile of glass came down.
Oh.
I hit a 4x8 black light, and a black light is a light that turns white into fluorescent.
Right.
And down came the glass on our hats, and with those pith helmets, you'd think it was raining, and on the ground, on the floor. And then we started to march, and it was crunch, crunch, and I thought I was walking on popcorn.
Right.
Well, after I got finished that, I they said they never wanted me back in the arena, but they were kidding, thank God. But anyway, in the evening performance, I did exactly the same thing. There was no light there.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but then I didn't have to worry because I was very nervous because this was one of my first tattoos.
Right.
And I actually had the band inside out and backwards. And we actually did the routine going the opposite direction.
Right.
And everything went smooth. The band, I couldn't believe it. When I realized what I had done, they just went ahead and did the routine.
Right.
There was no problem. They did exactly the same thing, only backwards and inside out.
And nobody watching would have known any
They
different.
wouldn't have known it. Well, there's a few that did that were there in the afternoon.
Well, of course.
Such as Rolly White.
Right.
And he was a great taskmaster, but he was a great fellow. But as we went out, one of the big shots from the tattoo yelled at me and said, "Drummy, I didn't know you had two performances, or two routines,
Two
really."
routines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a little friendly poke there, right?
Yeah.
The mace, have you ever dropped it?
Oh gosh, many times. Yes, the one I'm using now is the second mace I've had. The mace I'm using is not a throwing mace.
Right.
A throwing mace is about 4.5 feet tall, and it's very light, and you can do quite a bit with it. But that's a ceremonial mace I use. Now, I've never asked for a throwing mace. I thought I'd throw this thing, and the fellow before me, Bob, he threw it too.
Did he?
Yeah, and so I just continued on with the routine.
So tell me what exactly a mace is and what it symbolizes.
Well, it gives you the directions of what I'm going to tell them to do. I can't turn and yell at them.
Right.
So when I put the mace up on an angle and go like this, the bass drummer will pound on the drum twice and we will stop. To the right turn, left turn, or if we're going to do a counter march, I would turn it up with the ball at the bottom, turn it up, put it up in the air, and where I bring it down is the spot that the band will turn and go the opposite direction.